everyone, and welcome to the Woolly Wonka Fibers podcast. My name is Anne, and this is a podcast about my knitting, spinning, all kinds of crafty goodness, my indie dye and my indie design knitwear business. If you have just popped into the podcast for the first time and you're a new viewer, thank you for taking a little bit of time to get to know me. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for continuing to watch the podcast. I greatly appreciate that you come back to visit with me every week. So let's see, you can find me on the web at www.woollyWonkaFiber.com. That's my main shop. There are show notes there. And then you can also find me on Ravelry with my Woolly Wonka Fibers group. There are also show notes there. I'm also on Pinterest as Bunny Spinner, which is my personal account on Ravelry. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Woolly Wonka Fibers. And I think that's it. I think that's everywhere out on the web. Let's see, it's been a good week here. I am slowly making recovery progress. I drove myself to the library this week, which is like all of 4 miles, so I don't want to get too excited, but I did that. So I've been out and about a little bit more. I did a photo shoot on Thursday with a model that I've worked with a lot in the past, and she's absolutely wonderful and really gracious, and so I knew that she would come up into town and I didn't have to drive to Santa Fe. And she wound up also being kind enough to help me move stuff from the car because I still can't carry much, so I carried the camera and she carried everything else, and we shot photos. But when I got home, I was tired and I was sore and I was ready to go to bed, and so I took it really easy on Friday. I kind of overdid it on Thursday, which is the story of my life, I think. But anyway, I'm doing much better now that the weekend is here. Today is Sunday the 14th. Sunday the 14th of August, 2016. And this is episode 26, which I don't think I said. So anyway, I have been slowly but surely kind of getting myself back into the world of normal. My husband was on travel this whole week, which was a little bit difficult in that, you know, I just have so many things I can't do for myself, and he was very good about like getting all the laundry done, going grocery shopping with me before he left, but he was still gone all week. So I'm glad that he is home. He is home for a week before he is back out on travel, but I would think after another whole week I will be much improved and kind of in the home stretch of everything anyway. So let's jump into the podcast. I've got a bunch of things to share with you guys today. I have 2 finished objects. The first of which still needs to be blocked, but I'm going to do that. There's not a huge rush. This is the corrugated scarf, which I have finished. Here is the whole kind of doubled length. It winds up being about 75 inches long, so it's a good wearable length where you can still wrap it and you've got plenty of end to hang down. The pattern is by Cabin 4. I will link to that in the show notes. It starts off with this just basic 1x1 rib, and then you've got garter stitch edges with a 2x2 rib center. I knit this out of the Spirit Trail Fiberworks Brigantia, which is a DK weight, and it's 50, is this right? No, I'll have to get the tag. I'll link to that in the show notes as well, but it is Polworth and silk. I think it had like the perfect drape for this project. Once I get this blocked, I'm going to give it to my doctor as a gift when I see him for my follow-up kind of post-op surgical check in, what was that, about 10 days, I guess, as just a thank you. So that is finished. That is off the needles. That will count towards some more stash yardage. I do not think I'm going to hit that 15,000 mark. I'm going to be really close, but I don't think I'm going to get there. It's a week. We have a week from today. Stash Dash ends on the 21st of August. So I do have a little bit of time, and there probably will be a little more yardage, but I don't think enough to push me to 15K. I'm going to be close, but not there. So I'm going to kind of take stock of all that, add that up. If you're interested, there is a thread in the Ravelry group that is, I think it just says Stash Dash 2016. That kind of shows all the progress. So once I calculate out the yardage for that and this, which I'll talk about in a minute, plus a couple other things that I still have sitting that I may get accomplished, like I have a half a pair of socks done and I'm halfway through a spin, all of that, you know, I'll add up and kind of see where I'm going to be, but I don't think it's going to be 15K, unfortunately. So that's okay. 10K is good, and it's actually more than that. I think I'm at about 11,500 meters so far, without counting any of the finished objects this week. So, you know, getting there. It's just, I needed like 6 more sweaters finished. That would have done me. So the next finished object is my Boardwalk, which I have on today. This is a Heidi Kermeyer pattern that she did for Brooklyn Tweed. The original yarn that was used in her sample was Brooklyn Tweed Loft, and it was in the BT3 pattern collection several years ago. I had some Alice Darmore Scottish Campion in stash. I had enough to do a whole sweater, and I thought, okay, this will be a great stash busting project. So it's a fingering weight yarn. You might remember last time that you saw this, it was kind of neutral brown color, Moget. It was a natural Shetland color. And after I finished the sweater and I put it on, I decided that I am losing enough color personally in my, you know, sort of vampire pasty skin thing I've got going, that brown was not the greatest color on me to wear by itself. So after I finished it, I just made up a dye bath and I tossed this in, and I know I can hear the intake of breath that I did that. But you know, dyeing a sweater is not really that different than dyeing several skeins of yarn. You have to make sure that the garment is well saturated before you put it in the dye bath, and you know, kind of go through the same process and make sure it doesn't sit in one place. So anyway, I over dyed it this kind of cranberry color, which I think is perfect for fall. And you can see it's got some really nice details. I knit this a little bit big for me, just because I wanted it kind of boxy and loose. Let's see if I can. I'm not quite tall enough for you guys to see the edging, but it's got a cute little side detail right here. And it does have a slight A shape. It's got a little bit extra set of stitches here at the hem that you decrease in at the waist. It's got this great matching kind of ribbed detail here for the kind of center front, and then it's got this same detail, the corrugated ribbing here for the sleeves, the little cap sleeves, which are knit all in one. You don't add these at the end, you actually knit these all together. Can't say enough good things about this pattern. It was extremely well written, very specific, very detailed instructions, and there's nothing particularly hard about it. You have to set stuff up with markers, but once you do that, if you follow the instructions, this is a garment that anybody who can knit, purl, and do the slip knit or knit two together decreases, you can make this. It's a great layering piece. I predict I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this for fall. I have several tweedy things that I can see wearing this with, as well as just jeans. I think it would be a great piece to toss on, and it's a really lightweight layering piece. So you could easily, you know, if you're somebody who actually leaves your house to go to work and isn't splashing dye on yourself, you could put this under a blazer, or you know, like a go to work type jacket, I could see that very easily. Collared shirt would be great with it. Just a very, very versatile piece. I think it would be brilliant knit up in a speckle dye if you wanted something a little funkier, and I may actually do that. I think it would lend itself to that, or you know, a tonal hand dye. I think it'd be very pretty in that as well. So this one is also off the needles, and we'll go towards Stash Dash, as well as the Knitting Broomsticks sweater along that Jilly is hosting in the Knitting Broomstick podcast group. So I will add that over there as well. I used almost 5 skeins of the Scottish Campion to finish this. I just had a couple yards left over. So I actually have 3 more skeins of this yarn still lurking in stash, which I may over dye since I think this came out so nice. Maybe not this color, but I like the way that a natural colored wool dyes with an over dye, because it gives it kind of a heathery antique feel to it without a whole lot of work on the dyer's part. So I may dye that up and use it for a shawl or something that would be a Brooklyn tweed type project, but use that yarn, the Scottish Campion yarn, which is long discontinued. This yarn has been in stash a very long time. So I think that that is it for finished objects. 2 things I'm very happy with. So next up, let me talk about works in progress. I am working on a lace cardigan for the shop. That is, so I told you guys last week, I have 1 sleeve finished up to the armhole where I just have the cap to shape. The body I have knit up to the armholes. I finished the left front because it's a cardigan, and I'm working on the back. So my plan is to finish the body completely this week, finish the back, and do the right front. Get that put together, and then I can kind of double check that my sleeve cap decrease calculations are correct. I can knit that, finish knitting that, and set it in. Make sure it looks good before I knit the second sleeve. And then I'd like to try to have that done no later than this time next week, or maybe the 24th, something like that. I'd really like to get that off my plate. It'd be great if I could count that yardage towards Stash Dash, because it's a fingering weight cardigan, and so that would be another probably 800 to 1,000 yards, whatever that is in meters. But I'm not sure I'm going to get that all done by the 21st. But that's my primary project for the week. That'll be my kind of focus knitting project. And then I cast on a new project that's not a tough project. It's actually quite a fun knit. This so far is the Coffee Date shawl that's in the collection Coffee with Cece by Cece Allman. And the way that the shawl is worked, it's obviously got 3 colors, which you can see. This is on my Corrugated sock. This is Miss Fanny Price. This is Low Tide. And this is Unicorn. That's a speckle dye on that last little bit. So each section of the shawl is 6 different patterns, and so I'm on the 6th pattern of that first repeat. I've got that much again to knit to finish the repeat. So this is, there's no huge deadline on this. Other than that, I think I'm going to use it for the Gilmore Girls knit along that Jilly is hosting also at the Knitting Broomstick, because this will count for the Coffee with CC knit along, and it will also count for the Gilmore Girls knit along, since it's a coffee themed shawl. So it's a big shawl. It's generous, very generous. And I mean, you have 1,200 yards to work with. This is just obviously the unicorn skein that is connected to it right now. And originally my plan was to take this for our vacation in September, and I still probably will do that. So I'm not going to be, making any track records with this, but I'll work on it during the week, maybe 1 section a night or something like that. Because the rows are already getting pretty long. You can see that there. So whatever I get done, but this is one of those just, relaxing, fun enjoy it type projects, just when I need something that's not too mentally taxing and writing down notes and trying to figure stuff out in terms of sleeve shaping and stuff like that. And then I showed you guys where I was on this sock last week. This is the Janice Sock. That's the colorway, self-striping, from Desert Vista Dye Works on the Viso base. Here's her card, the tag from the yarn. And so I finished the first sock, twisted rib here at the top, 1 by 1, fish lips kiss heel, and my usual kind of wide toe. So this one is done, and I will cast on sock 2 to knit just again as I feel like it this week. So I'm working on that. That's half done. I probably will have those finished by the 21st, so I'm hoping to add that yardage to my stash dash total as well. Excuse me. So that is it for the world of knitting. I think that's everything. Yes. So I do not have a finished spin to share with you guys this week. I have finished one bobbin of the singles that I showed you last week. If you'll hang on a second, I'm going to just reach over here and grab them. I will be right back. So here is the first bobbin of singles in the colorway Cloudy Day. That was a set of bats that were from Funky Carolina, Polworth and Sparkle, which you can't really see, I don't think. Maybe a little, you can see it kind of glinting there. Just my colors. I love all these grays and blues, and I'm spinning this fairly fine. Here's the single, because I want to ply this up for a shawl. So I will get some spinning in today. It's another of the fibers from my Spin the Bin project, which I'm working away at. It just took me longer to spin the singles on that. They're so thin, comparatively speaking, this week. And then I had 2 days that I didn't spin. Thursday just got away from me, and then I really wasn't feeling up to sitting up and spinning on Friday. So I haven't touched the other half of that, but that'll go on the wheel probably this afternoon after I'm done recording the podcast. So I'll work on that and see how far I get. With any luck, I'll have another little bit to show you skein wise next week. I'd love to have that plied up. That would be a great addition to yardage for Stash Dash if I can get it finished by this time next week. Let's see. I did want to do a little housekeeping and just remind everybody that I will be in Austin, Texas, well, technically Jonestown, Texas, at the Happy U the first weekend of the Austin Yarn Crawl. So I'll be there Saturday, Sunday, and then I'm teaching classes on Monday, which is Columbus Day. So if you are in the area and you have any interest, please contact the shop. I will put the contact information in the show notes. To get signed up for one of the 2 classes if you have interest. I'm doing a class that's on sheep breeds, a kind of a sampler class, if you will. It's not just for spinners. It's a great resource as well for hand knitters. So if you're interested in that and interested in, you know, exploring some of the different types of wool, that's a great class for you to sign up for. And then the second class I'm teaching is a sort of things I've learned over the years. It's sort of a knitting hacks class, and we're going to go over sort of the tips and tricks that I use to help get a really nice finished piece, as well as, you know, some things you can do to help correct mistakes, some things you can do to help yourself kind of, I won't say knit faster, but let's say be more efficient in your process. So we'll talk about a few of the things that I use to kind of help myself knit professionally. I think that's where I'm going with that. So it's a fun class, lots of, just little things that you can tweak in your own knitting that will help make it be a smoother experience. Fight with things less, learn how to fix stuff if you need to, where you can kind of make some shortcuts, all of that good stuff. So if you're interested in those, please, like I said, give the Happy You a call. Get set up on their list to sign up for either one or both of those classes on Monday, which I think would then be the 11th of October. I think that's right. And so that also segues me into the fact that I will be also there on Saturday and Sunday doing a book signing / trunk show for the new Filament magazine. And I'm going to talk about a couple more projects from that in this whole sneak peek section of the podcast. I talked to you last week about 3 pieces that were in the fall 2016 issue, which will be releasing probably, the patterns will release probably the last week in August, but you can pre-order a print copy of the magazine right now at the knitfilament.com website. Again, I will link everything in the show notes so you can find all the gory details. But I have 2 more projects to share with you guys for this week. The first of which is this sweater, which is one of my designs for the collection. This is the Lombard sweater, inspired by the actress Carole Lombard from the 1930s. It's a DK weight, but it's knit up in Harrisville's DK weight flywheel, which is a great yarn for season spanning purposes because it's very lofty. It's spun like the Brooklyn tweed yarns are, so it's got a lot of air wrapped into it. So even though it's DK, it's super lightweight. It's a great layering piece. So this is knit in the color Spoonwood, which is a really dark kind of pine green. You can't really see it on the monitor, but it's got little tiny flecks of orange and a clear yellow and kind of a dark blue in it. So the sweater is knit from the bottom up to the armholes in the round. It has a slightly elongated ribbed section here and a center panel that's this lace cable that kind of mirrors the V-neck that's finished off with more of the ribbing. The back is just plain stockinette with the slightly high-waisted ribbing. So you knit it in the round up to the armholes, then you bind off the armholes and you work the 2 fronts separately and the back separately. Everything gets joined here at the sleeves. The sleeves themselves are worked in the round. They also have this slightly elongated ribbed cuff, and then they have the same chevron lace cable going up the outside of the sleeve with set-in sleeves. So you knit these in the round also up to the armpits, and then you work back and forth to shape the cap. And that'll probably be one of the things we talk about in the Knitting Hacks class as well, because I know a lot of folks are kind of hesitant about set-in sleeves, but they are really not as difficult as people kind of make them out to be, and they are really one of the best fitting sleeves for almost anyone out there. It gives you a nice clean line right here, and you don't wind up with a lot of excess fabric underneath the armpits. I just really like them for a very nice tailored look in finished knitwear. Finished anything, finished sewing projects, knitwear, it doesn't matter. Set-in sleeves, they really are nice, and they wear nicely. So that is Lombard. This one is going in my wardrobe as soon as it's cool enough to wear it because I love this sweater. I think it's just a versatile fall piece. So the next set of things that I'm going to share with you guys today, this is one of Kathleen's designs, and this is her Bonnie, Tam, and matching gloves. Oops, let me have the right side out. So these are knit in Brooklyn Tweed Loft, they're fingering weight yarn. And you can see, I think, there is a textured chevron ripple pattern on these. I apologize, these are not going to fit me great. Our model that we use has fairly small hands, so Kathleen knit the size small so that they would fit Felice, but I have large hands for a girl, so these do not fit me perfectly, but they fit our model great. Little ribbed cuff on the interior, and then the texture pattern on the back side of the hand. And let me show you the tam. Get those off without damaging them. So the tam is obviously worked in the round. It starts there at the top with that cute little I-cord trim right there, and is worked with concentric shaping, and then this great little textured chevron pattern there as well. Just a really nice kind of fall silhouette to that. You could see it wearing it with a lot of things if you're doing your Mary Tyler Moore reenactments. Those of you who know what that is will know that that dates me, but anyway. So another just great little fun fall project. We actually shot these two things together when we did the photographs, because I just loved all the Tweety goodness. Really fun, quick to knit. Those would be a great gift project for the holidays if you had a couple of skeins of fingering weight or 2 skeins of the loft. You could get by with just 2 for those. I love them. I think they're another great lightweight fall weather piece. So those are the 2 pieces I'm previewing for you this week. Last week we did the bittersweet cardigan, which is Kathleen's design, Kathleen's rumble seat cowl and mitts, and the Copperfield shawl that I knit. So if you missed last week's episode and you want to see those, you can go back and catch up. Those are also at the end of the podcast as well. And so next week, on the 21st, I'll preview the final 3 pieces in the collection. So the podcast viewers will have had the first look at all of those, and then we will start, like I said, rolling out the pattern release probably that last week of August, so you guys can start knitting. I did have a question from one of my viewers on private message on Ravelry, who was asking about knit-alongs, and we will be hosting knit-alongs in September and I believe October for the pieces in this collection. So we'd love to have you join us for that. There will be more information in the Filament Ravelry group, which I will also link to in the show notes, so you guys can find us there. So if there's something that you know that you love and you want to knit it, you can grab yourself a copy of the pre-order, which gets you free shipping if you're in the US, and then discounted shipping to Canada and overseas. Each of the print copies will come with a code to pop in on Ravelry to get a free copy of all of the PDF patterns, and we will probably send the coupon codes out to the folks who have purchased the pre-orders via email. So you have that, you can download the patterns, and then we'll be fulfilling the pre-orders around September 1st, meaning I will be mailing out the hard copies. But this way, with the coupon code, you can download the patterns. We should have that together just after the patterns release. So look for an email if you have already pre-ordered the magazine. And if you have done that, Kathleen and I would like to say thank you very much. We greatly appreciate all the folks who have grabbed a copy for themselves, and we certainly hope that you will then join us for the knit along. It would be great fun to see other folks' versions of the patterns in the collection. So I think that that's basically it for this week. I did want to just toss out something. So I wonder if you all are interested in any way Excuse me. We've had a ton of rain, and so now my allergies are all back with a vengeance. Ooh, I wonder if you all would be interested in having me include a segment in the podcast that has some of my like embroidery and sewing in it. I don't do a ton of that because I knit a lot, as you might guess. But I do occasionally do some other crafty projects, and so if you all think that you might be interested in a short, maybe once or twice a month segment on some of my other crafty projects, drop me a line. Let me know if that sounds fun, and I will consider including those in future episodes. For those of you who have known me for a while, and like my friend Laura, she always says, "Is there anything that you haven't done?" I've had a lot of jobs over the years. My original kind of focus that I thought I was going to do for a long, long time in my life was in sewing. I've done couture sewing, you know, hand beaded, hand sewn wedding dresses. I've done work for a museum where you basically are recreating the interior of a garment so that it will fit on a mannequin and not shred the old fabric with period silk thread and little teeny tiny stitches. And I've done a lot of quilting in the past, as well as a lot of, you know, hand sewing and embroidery, and have always enjoyed doing that. So right now I'm working on a couple of different projects, and so like I said, if you guys think that you might be interested, I will be glad to talk about that as well. So next week we will finish previewing up the filament collection, and hopefully I will have a couple other things in my personal knitting to share with you guys, and hopefully a finished spin as well. So until then, I hope that you guys enjoy your week. I know there's a lot of back to school going on, so hopefully that still leaves you some time for some personal crafting while you're running around trying to get the kids ready to go, or maybe already have gotten them out the door for that first week of school. Our local public schools go back very early here in New Mexico. So hopefully you will still have some time for yourself amongst all of the back to school craziness. And until I talk to you again next time, have a wonderful week. Take care, guys. Bye.